You're listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prundale, and you're on another show from the streets with your host Omar Dieguez and Adela Naranjo. And today we have a very special show, but before we get started with our show, I always like to start my shows by giving thanks to the Creator for allowing us to be here, to inspire our community, to inspire and empower our youth, to bring palabra, to bring real radio, real leaders for the community, and tell their stories, and to also let Adela share whatever she wants to share.
Yes, I'm Adela, and I'm so excited for this evening's radio show because we have two powerful women who are part of an organization that is uplifting Latinx and indigenous underrepresented voices through film, storytelling, culture, and community healing.
Thank you, Adela. Thank you. But again, dándole gracias al Creador para letting us be here today. And today we're going to have the two young ladies from the Watsonville Film Festival. And Adela and I will be talking to, and today we're honored to have welcome two inspiring leaders from the Watsonville Film Festival. Brenda Avila-Hanna is an award-winning Mexican filmmaker, educator, and advocate whose work focuses on transitional stories, identity, and uplifting diverse voices in film. We're also joined by Consuelo Alba, executive director and co-founder of the Watsonville Film Festival, a visionary cultural leader and filmmaker dedicated to building community, healing, and social change through the power of storytelling and art. We are excited to talk to both of them today, for them to share their stories, to share their experiences, and why it's so important to tell, to put the stories of people that are in the community and tell their stories. Why are we keeping these stories alive and archived for future generations to come back to them, and why they do what they do, such beautiful work in the community, but yeah, ¿cómo están?
Muy bien, gracias por invitarnos a estar aquí con ustedes.
Thank you, yes. Y Brenda, ¿cómo estás tú?
Muy contenta, muy orgullosa, very proud to be in each other's companion and community making. This is great.
Yes.
Thank you. We'd like to start with the first question and just know a little bit more about you, like where you grew up, how that inspired you to, tap into the world of story making.
Yeah. Well, I was born and raised in Mexico City, so I was very, very lucky to be, to spend half of my life in one of the greatest cities in the world, surrounded by history and culture. And when I came to the U.S., specifically California, I was very surprised by the lack of cultural representation. So basically, that's when I found my mission in life, to create spaces to share our culture, to celebrate who we are, and to use the arts as a way to connect and to heal.
Wow, very powerful. Thank you.
Y Consuelo, what was it that got you into filmmaking? What was it that inspired you to what was that moment that you said, I want to tell stories, I want to be able to put these on film and tell these stories? Yeah,
thank you for that question. My background is in journalism. So I went to UNAM and have my BA in journalism and communication sciences. So for many years I worked in publications and newspapers. And I was working here in the U.S., and it's when newspapers started declining, and I had to transfer my skills to a different medium. And so I went from the written word to learning how to use the camera, learning editing software, because I always wanted to do storytelling. That's the common denominator. So it has taken different shapes and forms, but always storytelling. So when I learned to use the camera and to use editing tools, I was blown away, because it's like magic when you start putting stories together, sounds, and there is something that happens that is very, very powerful. So when I experienced that, I was like, okay, this is something I want to keep learning about and keep sharing. And then once you make your film, then you have to think about who is going to see your film, who's your audience. And then that's when...
That's the hard part.
Exactly. It's super hard to make a film, and then it's super hard to find the audience who's going to see your film. So that's what that experience of making films and then thinking who's going to see it, and I want my community to be part of this experience. I want to share these stories with my own community. That's when we started planting the seeds for the Watsonville Film Festival.
Y Consuelo, ¿de dónde vienes? Were you born in Mexico? Are you from Mexico? ¿De dónde
Sí,
vienes?
nací y crecí en la Ciudad de México, orgullosamente chilanga.
Oh, paisana, también
Sí.
soy
Y también
Oh, no
Brenda.
way, Brenda.
Yeah,
Oh,
wow. We have 3 chilangos.
We
and
have
one
3
Michoacan.
chilangos in
But
the
you know
room.
what? I'm convinced that if we were in Mexico City, we maybe would not have met. It's just so massive, and I am convinced that there's something really special that brought us together. Because I am from there. I also went to a public university, but for some random reasons in life, I got a scholarship to the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. And it was all exciting, but I wanted also to be a journalist. And so I realized, maybe this is not transferable in a second language, because you have to use a lot of words. And so that's when like this whole inequity thing is like, well, all these kids grew up here, like they are ready, they know all these big words and all these systems, and I was just like drowning. And so I was like, I can't set myself up for failure here. And so I took a film class, and it's like, oh, for film you show, you don't have to tell. Right, so just let the camera roll. You know when you're learning a second language and you sort of get something, and you're like, everybody laughs, and you're like, but you're just like, wait, oh, I get it now. But after you get home, or you're like, oh, I should have said that. Like you just get stuck. And so I was at that stage, but that turned out to be a skill. So what I thought was setting me back was like, you know what? Now I get to sit, because documentary became sort of my favorite form of storytelling. Because I was like, I'm gonna sit down, and I'm just gonna absorb things. Like I'm just not gonna have this impulse of like chiming in, like. And then I realized, you know what? This is really cool, because I get to relive it, right? Like when you're learning a language, I get to see it again at home. I get to process what I learned from it, and then I get to tell the story of what I'm understanding and what I want to tell others who might not understand what's going on. And so I feel like I always tell this story because I think it resonates, especially with the Latino communities that we work with, or even like the indigenous communities we work with, because there's something about language that might not be, English, Spanish, but more like the language that academic people speak, or that people with money speak, or people who always see themselves on screen speak. They have this confidence, like, right? And we don't, and we feel like outsiders. We feel like imposter syndrome. And then you're like, no, like, let's show stories, show things in a language that is for us, by us. And then whomever wants to join the fun will get it. They will be into it, and they will have fun. It's not just for Latinos, for indigenous people, but it centers our stories, centers our voices, and then the right people have joined us, and we have wonderful audiences.
Such a beautiful thing the way you described it, to tell your stories, and then to have people just join you to hear those stories.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about speaking or anything. You get to show it.
Yeah.
You get to show your work, all that effort that you put into it. It's such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
One thing I want to point out is, it by coincidence, but you both started as journalists?
Yes.
Is that something that led you? Because being part of a journalist, you're always searching for that story.
Yes.
And is it related to film?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we are both documentary filmmakers. In fact, we work together. We make films together because we are totally on the same page. Our background in journalism really allows us to be very curious about who, we're interviewing, what's the story behind the story, the work. And so, yes, transferring the skills from journalism to filmmaking is very, very powerful, because film is an art form that allows people to be immersed in the story. It's not just telling a story, but you're listening to it. You are seeing things. You are seeing little faces and nuances and things that, you enter the world of the people you are presenting in the screen. So that experience, when I had that experience of sharing my own film, where people where looking at everything through my own eyes and the eyes of the protagonist. Once you experience that, you're hooked forever.
Yeah.
But also, I love what you say, Consuelo, but also I think this journalism background, it also, and doing this also speaks to the experiences. I've seen a lot of filmmakers of color or from other underrepresented communities. They pivot to film because they're like, there are truths, there are numbers that are not out there, right? Like the official history, the official statistics, governments or powers that be only document, leave some things out. You know, there's like something filter about it, but you know in your bones the experiences you're having in your communities. And so film sometimes give you that freedom of like, we're not presenting facts. People think sometimes, you know, erroneously that documentary films have to be like facts all the time. I'm gonna show you. It is real life, but it's also storytelling. You can craft a story from reality, and there's like a lot of creativity. So you're like, you know what? This is a real experience, and this is the life of someone. And I'm going to show you something that no one has shown before because there are no official records of it. There's no investigative, blah, blah, blah. But here is a beautiful story that's very real, and it's not out there. And so you connect at a different level that transcends all those statistics, all the official history. And it's very empowering. And those are the films that we continue to support and continue to share.
That's beautiful. As I'm hearing both of them speak, I mean, I could sense in the room, you know, your passion and how connected to you both are to what you mentioned earlier about changing the narrative, ensuring that there's healing visibility and also a sense of belonging for a lot of underrepresented communities, right? Yeah. I was just curious to know, like, was there someone that inspired you? You know, sometimes we don't do things alone. And even though, you know, we're passionate about certain avenues, was there someone that inspired you, like, to get into storytelling and filmmaking?
Well, for me, I was always very, very drawn to storytelling and journalism and telling, you know, what I saw and connecting with people and those truths that Brenda is talking about. Like, there is an emotional truth that transcends numbers and data, and it's like, what are these experiences that people have that we never see, and that makes us so human. So for me, the person who really changed my life and transformed me from inside out was Don Sergio Castro in Chiapas, because I made a very modest film that my intention was to make a film about him so people could see what I was seeing so they could support his work. So that was the premise of my film. And what was amazing was that film was so modest, but the story itself touched so many people all over the place. I was invited to participate in 30 film festivals because of this film, because people connected at that human level. And it's not about big productions, it's not about the special effects, it's not all these things we think film is about. It's really about the essence of a human, the essence of the person you're connecting with, that when you're able to capture that, people see it. And that is what makes film so powerful. And that's the experience we have at the Watsonville Film Festival through many filmmakers that tell these powerful stories, and that you see, oh, I haven't seen anything like this, but I totally connect with it.
I've seen a lot of the films this year at the film festival, and I gotta say, I some of them made me share some tears. Some of them made me like have that moment like, wow, I didn't know that part of life existed with some of the storytelling that you tell. Some of them made me feel emotional. Some of them made me feel all these like anger, like some of these activists and some of the things that some of these people go through. It's like, it's real storytelling. It's the human, how do you say it? The
experience.
It's like the human experience. It's like,
yes.
And I can say when I walked away from some of these films, it made me look at life a different way. It made me like appreciate some of the stuff that I was seeing. And for example, the one film, no me acuerdo cómo se llama, but it was about the gentleman who was a transgender. That film opened my eyes into a whole different world in reality. So it's very, very important to keep these stories alive, and those experiences that are very well told by the work that you do and put into these films is very well worth the time to sit down and watch those films.
Yes.
Well,
Really-
a little comment about that. Brenda is the director of that film.
Oh, you're talking about
Are you talking about Libertad?
Sí, Libertad.
the
Yeah.
transgender woman.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh,
there's
thank you. That
yes,
means a lot.
But
she's the
that-
director. She's has been following Alejandra for many years. So that film took 8 years to be possible for us to have it at the Watsonville Film Festival.
And Brenda, you do a lot of film. I didn't know how much influence you got into the Watsonville Film Festival. You've done a lot of great work. That Libertad was one of them, but you also participated in American Pachuco. You helped write that story of Luis Valdez. Tell us about that.
Thank you. No, I thank you for your kind words. That's a very meaningful film, and I think this is where it's really powerful to have this ecosystem, because the Watsonville Film Festival was one of the first festivals where I screened my work. I graduated here at UC Santa Cruz from a documentary program, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to make films. What do you do? Like as an immigrant, a brown woman, I had a 1-year-old. No, actually a 2-year-old. He was 2, and I was like, what do? You send your film to a festival, you give them some money, and it's like, I got into some festivals, but it's like, okay, how do I get? I'm not gonna go there. I don't have the money to go there. I can leave my kid, it's like, oh, that's great. And so all of that was like clout, and it's exciting, but in reality, it was not gonna pay rent. So I stopped making films for some time, because I was like, what am I supposed to do if you don't have social capitals connections? I can't move to LA. I can't move, not even to Oakland, when there's some more like film activity. So I remember that the Watsonville Film Festival was like, it's right around the corner, it's focused on Latinos, and it also has these opportunities where they bring like very experienced filmmakers, and there's no VIP line, there's no like, oh, we're gonna do this. They made this like wonderful event where I connected to people I admire, blah, blah, and I was like, this is great. Like, how can I help? How can I join? And so thanks to spaces like that, I think people need to know that what we have here is amazing. Like, over the years, that really sustained me, because that's where I found like collaborators, people I can show my work with. I can get inspired by watching other films, get programming experience, because people submit their films, and then you get to see what everybody's working on. So all around, that was so nurturing. And along the way, over the years, I gained that confidence to apply to fellowships, like other programs, all the way to, I've been very blessed. I've screened my films on PBS, in big festivals like Tribeca or Sundance, and they screen at HBO. And it doesn't matter, because this is my home. Like, Watsonville Film Festival is where it's at, and I still continue to, we're growing together, and it's a vital ecosystem. So I'm very proud that it's possible. It's not easy to do the work from here, and not having to move to these places, but a lot with technology, people connecting, people tired of the same old systems. There's stuff to be done, and we have a place here where you can screen it and you can share with others. So this like validations, these old things are kind of dying down. We hear about like Hollywood, either like being Hollywood and just like doing horrible things, or reinventing itself, right? And so that's like they're having conversations we've been having for the past 15 years. So they're catching up.
I want to uplift something that you just said, Brenda, like no VIP lines. As I heard you speaking about that, it makes me think about equity and access.
Right.
Like for me, I know my family, we can't really afford to be able to go to a lot of these films, but the Watsonville Film Festival has made it very affordable. I normally attend with my son. And so when you said that, it makes me think about other families. Whenever I go, I make sure to share it with families, but letting them know like how affordable it is. Yes. And I think that makes a huge impact to our community here, especially our, like in Watsonville. So families know that they have that opportunity to go and access the films. I was curious, what kind of reaction have you heard, has the community given you about Libertad?
Well, for those who are listening, Libertad, and they didn't get to watch the film, Libertad is a story of an indigenous trans woman from Oaxaca, Mexico, who left her hometown almost 25 years ago, escaping violence and looking for opportunities. And she moved to Santa Cruz, California. And after 25 years, she's like, I have to see my family before it's too late. So she decides to apply for asylum. So the film follows her journey as she's applying for asylum, but also goes back between Mexico and between Oaxaca and the U.S. to see how like the beautiful community she's built. Her mother loves her, misses her. She left a mark, and all of her family continues to do that. And here in our community, she's done amazing things for transgender healthcare. So it's the span of all this process, and just I think the film premiered last year at the New York Latino Film Festival, and it's been still for the full year. It's been going to different festivals, but the homecoming screening at the Watsonville Film Festival was the most amazing, the one that we dreamed of for all these years. And people in the community have been so loving. Like, one, because Alejandra is so beloved, and the community was able to show up and give her love, the love that she deserves, the celebration. And I think people were feeling so proud. It's like, look at the person we have here. Look at the gems that are represented in our community, the solidarity, the learning, the space making, the activism. And it was kind of like a sweet reminder sometimes when we're jaded of like, no, this is what we can be when we're at our best in Santa Cruz County, showing up for each other, especially when you have someone who's indigenous, trans, immigrant at a time like this, and everybody rallying around someone like that. It's beautiful. So it was the response was amazing.
Yeah,
it's such a powerful story. It's powerful. I'm telling you, I was crying when I seen that film. It was. Have you seen it?
I have not.
You
But I
have to
remember
see
you
Oh my
told me
God,
about
so many of us were crying.
Yeah,
at
like
the end of the
it's
film,
like
there was a
that
standing
story
ovation.
was, and
Everybody in tears.
yeah.
Wow.
And her story is so powerful because it talks about an immigrant, the struggles that we have to face as an immigrant. Not only that, but the struggle that she was facing with the transgender stuff. And then not only that, but there's also a moment in the movie where it talks about the struggle of when Trump was trying to erase transgender stuff from the world.
Still trying.
So she was facing like all these, and on top of that, facing her own trauma that she had lived in Mexico.
Right.
She still had trauma that she had to heal. It was a powerful film.
Thank you. And I'm glad you're bringing up your experience, because this is the importance of us making films about experiences that there's a connection. Because as an immigrant person from Mexico, having that connection with the protagonist is like, we need to have those conversations as Latinos. We need to have, in immigrant spaces, we leave out the trans experience. And in trans spaces, they leave out immigrants and the indigenous, so there's all these aspects of it that it was like, my goal was for our communities to have it, embrace that there's multiple identities within our own identities, and how important it is, like, when the most vulnerable of us is safe, that makes us all of us safer, and just to get comfortable and loving. And so thank you for that, and that's really important. And hopefully the film is going to be available in public libraries in the fall, with a little study guide, so that people can actually, because that's the goal, right? That people get to talk about these films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the festival, and is the ripple effect, right? Because now it touched you, and you're talking about it, and then you tell more people, and that's the goal, to keep sharing these films, to keep sharing these stories, and uplifting members of our own community.
Yeah. Well, maybe if si te portas bien, Adela, nos dan una copia de la película.
Omar had told me about it, but he couldn't remember the title, and I'm like, now I want to watch it.
Yeah,
It's a powerful film. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to
KSQD Santa Cruz and KSQT Prunedale.
We'll be right back from the streets.
All astronomical observatories catch waves, irregular waves that might have been sent from outer space.
Some signals are hard to explain. This one comes from Santa Cruz, KSQD, K-Squid, 90.7 FM, community radio for Earth and beyond.
You're listening to KSQG Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, Como Una Flor. In the studio, we have Adela, Consuelo, and Brenda from the Watsonville Film Festival. Such a beautiful conversation we're having here. And we are going to talk about some of the films and the experience, the experience of storytelling and how important it is to be able to tell these stories in the community of people that are actually from the community, living these stories and just bringing to life what they experience, because whether you live it or not, it touches your heart to hear these stories and know that these people are part of our community. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, Brenda, I just seen American Pachuco, such a beautiful film, also inspiring. It highlights the struggles of the Chicano movement. It talks about the Pachucos and the story of Luis Valdez, which is very, very inspiring to see the struggle of Luis Valdez. You know, he went through some stuff, and he started off with the Campesino movement, with the UFW doing Teatro Campesino, right? And then his story goes through where there was a point where he wasn't able to do the theater for the campesinos no more, and then he went from there to doing I think he went to the Zoot Suit play. And there's such a beautiful scene in that film. Like, when I seen that scene, I was like, wow, like, it was so inspiring. And to see other Chicanos that were there and talk about that scene, like we're always looking for our identity, but that movie really like put the identity out, you know, and talked about the Chicano movement. And can you explain, do you know what scene I'm talking about? Can you explain us that scene and how powerful that scene was in that movie?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for being so specific. I always love hearing, we always love hearing when there's one particular moment that resonates and why. But yeah, for listeners, so, as Omar was mentioning, Luis Valdez wrote this play and eventually became this big movie, Zoot Suit, that tells, the story of some very real riots when, there was a style of dress, that Chicanos were dressing on that was called Pachuco, that was, defiant and was kind of like stating, we're American, we're here, we're no longer going to hide. It was a sense of pride, a sense of identity, a cultural movement. And so there was a big fight with, some Marines, white guys, and that got into this like, they were heavily criminalized for a long time, but like everything kind of sort of culminated into this big fight when people were arrested, and basically the guys wearing zoot suits were humiliated on the street. They were criminalized. They went to jail. They got beat up. The police didn't touch the other guys, the Marines, at all. There were no consequences, and the newspapers completely slandered all the Chicano kids, calling them criminals. Unfortunately, we're very familiar with the stories today. But one of the most painful parts about this riot was that a lot of these Chicanos were stripped of their clothes as a way to say, continue to criminalize their style and their cultural movement. And so Luis Valdez talks about that pivotal moment and has that on both the film and the play, in which he says he wants to make a point that they can take away everything from us. They can put us in jail. They can take, even without our clothes, they cannot take away your dignity and who you are if you know very well who you are. And so that makes them more mad, but they will never have it.
And in the film, or también in the Susu play, when that Chicano, that Pachuco stripped, and he's curled up in the fetal position, and he stands up, this indigenous warrior comes out.
Yes.
Even then, when we're stripped and everything's taken from us, we still have that indigenous warrior. I thought that was such a powerful scene
such a big reminder,
especially today, like con todo lo que está pasando, it's such a powerful. I was super inspired by that. But
y'all should watch it. I mean, the original Zoot Suit, the movie is out there, but also the documentary is going to be on PBS, which is very aligned with, continuing to support this, public media spaces, as you all listeners are already. And so that's also very important.
And I want to make one comment regarding, we all know what's going on in the district with a lot of stuff. The school district just taking the voice away from a lot of the students, the community. But I thought it was powerful that PVUSD allowed the Zuzu play by the students at Barrow Valley High School.
Yes.
And that story, we all know the story. Again,
it's so relevant.
Yes.
And they did such a magnificent job. I saw the play by the students.
Yes.
And they were so proud.
Yes.
They learned so much about history and their place in the world right now.
Yes.
That's how powerful this play is. So it was very special for us to invite them to the homecoming screening of American Pachuco with Luis Valdez in attendance and have them perform in their suit regalia and then perform and sing and then watching the movie and then having Luis Valdez speaking to them directly
And
about the power of the arts, about resisting through the arts.
Yes.
So that was a very loud and clear message that resonated around the room. All of us felt that power.
And what I loved about the fact that they had that play at PV High is, there's been a lot of struggles at that school and the district, and then to have American Pachuco showed by the Watsonville Film Festival, it's like how many of us are living that? Like you said, it's prevalent to today, So I'm super proud that the students got to experience that, but also that the Watsonville Film Festival brought such a great film to continue that spark of inspiration for the students and to find themselves in this day in history.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. So because I was talking to my dad about the film, he asked me if there's any plans for the video to also be in Spanish.
I think it's been shown in Spanish already. I actually saw that the filmmakers are in Arizona. They are at this amazing film festival in Nogales that is showing the film on both sides of the border, like literally on the wall. So on one side, Nogales, Arizona,
on
is
the
in
border wall?
English, on the border, right on the
Wow.
wall. One side in English, the other side, Nogales, Sonora,
No
in
way.
Spanish,
That is
simultaneously. So that's
Whoa.
the kind of experiences that happen at film festivals.
I mean, I want to see that. I want to see that on film. Them so that's so powerful to show that.
Yes, right.
Yeah, and it's been in Mexico. It's doing the
Oh
rounds
yeah, it
too.
was because it won 2 big awards at Sundance Film Festival this year, which is incredible. I mean, it's super, super competitive to be selected by Sundance, the most famous independent film festival we know. So being selected there and then receiving the 2 top awards. So the film has been traveling, was in Mexico City as a part of the special program of Sundance. And so people watch it in Mexico City the same day we were watching American Pachuco at the Watsonville Film Festival. The same day.
Wow, that is so cool.
So it is available.
Okay, I'll make sure to let my dad know.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, I know this is probably going to backtrack us a little bit, but how did the Watsonville Film Festival nonprofit, I want to say
Yes.
nonprofit, start? And what was the vision? How do films and topics get chosen? Is it related to local, national politics? Or how do we, how are the videos and topics chosen?
Yeah, that's a great question, Adela. Thank you. I mean, we started really, really small in 2012. We didn't know we would be here today because it started with a very simple idea. We need a space to tell our stories, to celebrate the creativity of our artists, and we knew there were films being made in Watsonville. And there was no space to come together and celebrate that. It didn't exist. So back in 2012, I had this film I mentioned earlier, the person who inspired me so much to make a film because he's so resourceful. He's able to do so much with so little. that inspired me to say, okay, I can make a film, my first film, and see what happens. So that film took life on its own, and people were asking us, where are you going to show that film? When can we see it? You have been all over the place. Where can we see it? And so we realized we needed to create this space for us. And so several educators and filmmakers came together and said, let's create this space for us with our stories and just invite our own community. And that was a showcase one afternoon at the Mello Center. And once we just started talking about Watsonville Film Festival, people got really, really excited. It was like, what? We have a film festival in Watsonville? I want to be there. And it was a sold-out event, 700 people, first time, and the energy in the room was electric. Because, for the first time, we saw ourselves represented on the big screen. We had people, oh, that's my uncle, or my tío made that film, and he's like here. And it's like when you see yourself represented, it's amazing, and you don't forget it. And that's what made us realize, like, oh, we have to do this again. This was really amazing for all of us. I mean, I heard parents saying, now my kid wants to be a filmmaker.
Wow.
If you don't see that around you, you don't imagine you can do it. You're able to do it. But then when you know people who are part of your community and they have their films on the big screen, you're like, I want to be a filmmaker. And I remember a parent told me that. So throughout the years, we have seen that. We have more and more local filmmakers. That's basically our specialty as a film festival. We bring gems from other film festivals, like American Pachuco, like other films we see in major film festivals. We handpicked a few films, but most of the films we invite. We have an open call. Through our networks, we encourage local filmmakers to submit their films. And we have a programming team, also local filmmakers selecting the films. And it's getting harder and harder because the quality and the quantity of the films we're receiving is getting higher and higher throughout the year. So after 14 years, we can really see a difference, how the festival is evolving, how the local filmmaking community is evolving. And so every year we have, this really hard job to decide what gets selected because we are very intentional. Once we select a film, we're embracing it, we are putting it out there because a lot of it is visibility for the filmmakers. Yes. It's just, yes, we promote a lot about the film festival, but once a film is selected, like Brenda was saying, the experience is, as a filmmaker, you are part of our program, you're part of our community, and we do, highlight all the amazing filmmakers. We work with the media to say, this is us, this is what we're doing, these are our stories, and this is what's not usually covered. Yeah. Like all this complexity, intersectionality. I mean, you can talk about some really amazing stuff, complicated stuff, heartbreaking stuff through film in a way that it's uplifting because you are going to see the film and then meet the artists. Mm-hmm. That's what's really powerful too.
And just to add to that, I think it's important to highlight that we also show comedy and horror as well. So it's not all like...
I want to see the horror.
Exactly right. It takes so much creativity to scare people in a way that is like creative and innovative.
So how many horror films are there?
Oh, we had this year...
We had a showcase, a complete
showcase. That's right. And I mean... To this point of how we select these films is, okay, there is a film, El Regreso del Miedo. It's really about this nightmare horror story about the fear of families that have to face ICE. Like this fear of being persecuted. There is this nightmares of people just knowing that they are very vulnerable, and there is this force, very dark force.
But it's represented in a way that is not like necessarily re-traumatizing, but it's also like, you start like, it is like a horror movie, you know, and the way the artist, it's a local artist, just graduated from UC Santa Cruz, by the way, very talented. And just that creativity to channel, like, let's make a horror story, but hey, it turns out that this is what a lot of immigrants go through. But yeah, so it's really special for us too, because like she was part of a cohort of filmmakers that we supported through a grant for Latina filmmakers. So it was very full circle, and the festival, it's done really well in other festivals.
Yeah.
But just one last thing about the curation process is that we also look at films, you know, for anyone out there that's like, oh, you know, but I'm not Latino, is this for me? Like, if you're a student filmmaker in one of our like schools, you know, in one of our high schools, you know, you're local, so it's important for us to just show local stories as well, like to support local filmmaking ecosystems. I'm sure there's some Latinos in your crew. I'm sure there's like other filmmakers you want to connect with. So we're very interested in local filmmakers and supporting them. And showing their work. So just, you know, just wanted to clarify that there's all this like process into where the work comes from, and also how it could serve our community, make sure that maybe this is super interesting because it's a big network of educators maybe that is going to rally around this particular film. So we also think about our audience, like what they have asking to watch, what would be relevant to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're in the middle between supporting the filmmakers and making sure that the audience is going to have a good experience, that is going to touch in a way that you all remember. So that's our job as curators. Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, la plática está bien buena. We could sit here for 2 hours, but we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to
KSQD Santa Cruz and KSQT Prunedale.
From the Streets with your host Omar and Adela, and we're here with Watsonville Film Festival, and we'll be right back. Sabor a mí, Sabor a Watsonville Film Festival, Sabor a KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, and this is From the Streets with your host Adela and host Omar Dieguez, bringing you more community radio, great voices from the comunidad, and highlighting the people that are bringing stories and bringing change to our community in a positive way. I almost ran out of breath right there. Wow.
That's how excited you are.
Yeah. But Consuelo, you were talking about your nonprofit started since 2012.
Well, no. It's a whole process.
Okay.
To just share quickly, no, we didn't start as a nonprofit. It was a grassroots collective, just wanting to do this. We were not paid. There was no budget. I mean, for years, we just had a bunch of volunteers making this happen. And in 2016, we became a nonprofit arts organization. So we have been operating as a nonprofit for 7 years now, 8 years. And so that's important because our name is Watsonville Film Festival, of course, but we are an organization that presents programs all year round. And we have an artist development program where, you know, we provide mentorships and grants and industry network opportunities and different things that to support our local filmmakers. So throughout the years, we have been evolving as an organization and learning every day how to do this.
Consuelo, you mentioned the word grassroots. Is
Yes.
it safe to say that there was a piece of the Watsonville Film Festival that was a little bit bringing organization and activismo to the community?
Yes. I mean, for us, the work that we do is an intersection of film, storytelling, social justice. I mean, we are in Watsonville. That is part of our DNA to tell these stories, and that's why we have a lot of social, justice films, because we are in Watsonville. We cannot be talking about all this other stuff because we represent our community. Our filmmakers represent our community. So that's why we have a lot of documentary films, and not all of them documentary films, but definitely is social justice activism. We work with many nonprofits in our community, and if there is a film about pesticide reform. We invite CORA. We invite the Center for Farm Worker Families. We invite SAS, and we invite future leaders of change, because we want something that is very important to us is that there is always a conversation after the film. And then the goal is to also have an action after the conversation, because again, film is very powerful, it's very inspiring, and then we want to connect with the people in our community who are doing the work, the frontliners in our community. So for us, that is how we program the festival, how we connect the dots.
And also, there's something very powerful about, because for anyone who's listening, maybe like they're making films or they're watching films and they're like, but how is a fiction film about like something funny in the workplace or sci-fi in the fields? Like, how is that activism? Well, sometimes just at times like this, or any time, I guess some ways of just existing in the world are activism, our resistance, right? So, wow, this is a story about like Latino, water cooler talk at the office. Oh, that's interesting. Like, we don't see stories like that. Latinos in like, going to work at an office, like the everyday sort of conversations that happen and being just funny, applying for a job. Just, I want to see more of that. So that part of, there's some activist component to that, even if it's not explicit. It's not always explicit, but it's always intentional. So it's very like thought, and the conversations are very real. People are like, oh my gosh, that's the kind of humor my tias use. That is exactly like that music. All of that happens.
Or just love stories.
Love stories.
And we, like opening night, we had this beautiful selection of films that are just about, a couple, older couple. She's divorced, like just having a date. How do you leave your kids behind, and how you go out? And you don't see like, these kind of like real life stories. Those are our stories too.
That's powerful, real life experiences, right?
Very well represented on screen. So it just translates. And I think that's the successful of why the festival is successful, because it's a reflection. Like, we go there to just celebrate who we are. It's not just about our trauma, but it's about our complexity. Exactly. And audiences from all walks of life join, because they're like, I have the news. I have my social media scroll to see like traumatic things. Like, I want to see more nuance. I want to just cry together and rejoice together and laugh together and be scared together.
We need these spaces so much. I mean, our work, like, we know everything going around us is kind of really intense, and now we need these spaces more than ever, just for us to come together and have fun and have conversations and learn from each other and celebrate each other.
That's
Yes, and Brenda, I wanna say something. Consuelo, you mentioned about the pesticides reform, and Brenda, you did that film that you shared with us at Barrios Unidos right before I did my hunger strike, and I was going through all these emotions, whether or not I was worried if I was ready to do a hunger strike, and when I seen that film and the story that you told in that film, that was like, yes, I'm ready to do this hunger strike. Because I was like, this is what I needed to see to go on this journey, because I knew it wasn't going to be an easy journey, but that film helped me to get that. Sí, estoy listo. Like, let's do this. This is the right thing to do at this time. But thank you for doing that film, and a lot of the films you do, I'm surprised to see your name on them. Like, you do good work. Un aplauso para ti.
No, un aplauso para ti.
También para Consuelo, todo el trabajo que hace.
Thank you for what you do, by the way. It's just mad props for like standing up to the, like for the community and at a great expense.
Thank you. And Consuelo, real quick, I want to talk about, we have 4 minutes left. Nanko's here, give me the 4 fingers. I thought he was throwing barrio on me, but he's telling me four minutes left. Real quick, tell us about the quinceañera that's coming up.
Yes, everybody's invited to the Watsonville Film Festival Quinceañera next year, 2027. It's going to be our 15th annual Watsonville Film Festival, and we are already getting ready. We're super excited. Again, we're going to have a great selection of films. We know many local filmmakers are already working on their films to have them ready for next year, and so we invite everybody to be part of this celebration, and we are going to invite padrinos y madrinas to help us make it all possible. So we are going to invite everybody to, support the festival, support a celebration, and we want to be able to make our programs accessible to everyone in our community, because that's what we do. Like for us, the red carpet, this idea of film festivals are exclusive just for some people. No, our red carpet, everybody gets to walk on the red carpet. Everybody comes in their outfits and for a special occasion, and we all take photos, and it's a very beautiful way to come together as a community. And again, it's for me a privilege and a joy to be able to do this work, because I really believe in creativity, the way we come together in these hard times. How we resist is through the arts. This was our theme this year, art as resistance, and it's more than important than ever that we continue to tell our stories, to celebrate who we are, and to uplift the next generation.
Beautiful.
So if anybody has anything to contribute in terms, it's not, just financial, but, donate your time, join the programs, attend the festival, follow us on social media to just learn more about what we're doing.
That's right.
And lastly, how can the community support these events? I'm thinking about Madrinas and Padrinos. How can people donate? How can more people support this? Because as you were saying, Consuelo, we need these opportunities, right?
And we have 1 minute left.
Yes. There are many, many ways to support just by coming to the events, participating, attending, sharing, following us on social media so you know what's happening. We have padrinos and madrinas that support financially, but volunteering is so much. We love our volunteers. We have a great team, and volunteering is huge for us because it's a big event.
If you have a business too, we're always happy. We have go to our website, watsonvillefilmfest.org, so you can learn more about how you can join the circle of there's different tiers of support. We
have Amigos del Festival that support us every month with $10. And that is huge for us.
Okay.
Well,
join, become an amigo.
We gotta get our suit ready for the quinceañera, Omar.
Yeah, we're gonna have to buy some suits, and I'm gonna have to grow some hair or borrow some hair.
I need churros del baile.
Well, pues muchas gracias for being here. It was a beautiful show to hear everything that you do in the community. I was touched. I don't know about you, Adela.
I was very touched. It's beautiful, uplifting the local community.
Yes. One word, any last things, last comments, 30 seconds.
Nos vemos en el cine.
Okay,
Eso
nos vemos.
Gracias, gracias.
You were listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prundale, and this was From the Streets with your host Omar and Adela, and we're signing out for today. Adios.